runner sled. 5-minute warning. One minute warning to our pilot sled. more runs in for the love of the sport. Through curves 2 and 3.
Wir wurden ja auch gefahren, circa meine.
Was?
Ja.
Sie.
Ach so. Yeah, it'd be great to network. Yeah, for business. And it, yeah. We're in a decent spot. Great community park. Again, he is. He's not a bullshit. That's great. I'm glad you did.
Track is clear to start 1 for our second forerunner. So let in from start 1. This is our second of 2 forerunners before we move in to our first competitive sled. Into curve 1, coming down through Placid. Through Cliffside, sliding into Whiteface. It is a 5-minute warning to our first competitive sled. Through 8, 9, now coming into curve 10. Entering the labyrinth. Trophy Venom's Bend. Coming through the chicane, now into the heart.
And finally, here we are after starting in Yangqing, the Olympic track in November 2023. In March 2024, Lake Placid rounds out the season, as it will do next year for the World Championships. But today it is the finale of the BMW IBSF World Cup season with the final run of the four-man. Welcome back, everybody. Martin Haven and the crew, one last time this season, talking you through the action. Adam Moore of Germany, lying in third place after a strong first heat. He's 2800ths off the lead of the race. Bronze medalist yesterday in the two-man, his first race weekend on the track. Ahead of him is Johannes Lochner, Hansi with 2 silvers and a bronze in the last 3 races on this track. He has not won here, has not been a German winner since Max Arndt back in 2015-16. But there will be likely a German winner today, and if not Lochner, then it might be our first heat leader. Francesco Friedrich has raced here 12 times. He's got podiums in the last 2 races, but has yet to take a win, and that might just happen today in his 99th 4-man race outing in the World Cup. So Francesco Friedrich leads by 1700s. There is a tight battle behind. Adam Moore, Marcus Treichel, Taylor Austin, Seaman Freedley could all contend for a podium. And behind them, well, tight battles all the way down. A second dead heat in 9th place, Kim Jin-soo and Emil Tulis. Well, there is Francesco Friedrich, last run of the regular season. And on hard, fast ice. Looks as though with snow in the air, it shouldn't affect the track too much, but it has just slowed down a little compared to yesterday. It was clear, very hard, very cold, and very fast. Still fast enough today. There's Marcus Sammer. Marcus racing for Austria. And Sammer today starting his 65th 4-man World Cup, his 110th race. A lot of very experienced brakemen and some brand new ones as well. Our first sled off has a rookie, Callum Dixon of Great Britain, making his World Cup debut. His teammates all making their second 4-man World Cup start. They'll be first off, 14th in the first heat. Jacobs Kellender, Bal Gartner, Cedric Fidor, and the rest will follow them. And as we get down to the closing stages, last 6 or so sleds, we'll be looking at the battle for the medals. For the overall season-long honours, Francesco Friedrich leads from Emil Tulis and Johannes Lochner, and it seems unlikely that that top 3 will change. Final run of the BMW IBSF 4-man bobsleigh World Cup season in Lake Placid. Martin Haven watching the action with you. Great Britain's Adam Baird, Callum Dixon, Jens Huller and Luca Williams getting us underway for the final time this season. And like silver medalists this morning in the women's race, Adele Nicol and Kaya Placid, coached by the man in the cap there, 98 Olympic bronze medalist Sean Olsen, and supported by UK Sport, helping to fund these development athlete programs that are already starting to reap rewards. We started 5:30 in the first heat, 5:33 in the second. Rented sled, first time he's driven it here. And the only time that he's been on this track before was when he was in bobsleigh school, learning the basics back in January 2019. So rediscovering and learning anew this track as a more experienced driver, Adam Baird. Another Royal Marine bobsleigh driver. I know there's one watching at home. Hello to Lee Johnson. The Royals with a proud tradition in British bobsledding. Adam Baird looking to be the next of those. Coming back from breaking his neck. 56.40 across the line. Well, he gets it in, gets it down. And if he does not improve, or if nobody else drops behind him, he will be no worse than 14th. And that is a personal best. His previous 4-man World Cup result was 17th place in Lillehammer. So that is what everybody is looking for every day they go on ice, a personal best. And yes, he will look at the top of the field and go, I'm not where they are. That's the wrong direction. Look in the mirror, look where you've come from. Keep your eyes on where you want to go. You measure yourself by what you did before. Next up, Jacobs Kellender. So the Latvian, just 21 years of age, his 13th World Cup start in 4-man. Has not raced here previously either. Finished in 13th in the 2-man. He's in early, but there's a slip from behind. As Lars Kaufmann is the most experienced man in the sled in his 38th World Cup race, 24th World Cup race rather. in a four-man, but they get in. It certainly won't have helped their speed. 5:22 getaway. Not looking too bad through the Devil's Highway. Out of Shady 2, down into the Labyrinth. 12:13, little tidier than the first heat. He's definitely got on top of the sled in the ice conditions. Was super fast yesterday. Looks like they're managing it a bit better now. 1:31.7 at the bottom. And he will be the leader by around a second at the line. 55.70. So goodbye from the leader's box from Adam Baird and the boys. I will be surprised if we don't see a replay of that start. That was dramatic indeed. So it's the guy getting it at 2 who's on the left-hand side of your picture. Foot slips off the bunk, but he just wrestles himself in. And his brother Doves behind him. Stays up, allows Lars to get in. They're the two guys with a black stripe down their helmet there in the centre of the shot. Well, comme ci, comme ça, sometimes you have those days. Their season is over. There will be no worse than 13th place here. Next up now, Patrick Bal Gartner of Italy. Now, he does have more experience on this track, Patrick. He hasn't raced here, but he has got more World Cup experience. 37th four-man World Cup start for him. Made his debut back in January 2014 in Winterberg. He's got Eric Fantazzini, Rob McClear, and Lorenzo Bellotti, the most experienced of the lot in the back. 31st four-man World Cup start for the brakeman. 5:15 they get away. 5:14 in the first heat. So they've outstarted the Latvians who were behind them by 1500ths, added another 700 to that lead. And he's adding more to that, a tiny top end. Ron Jackson reminding me there are 2 Royals watching. Hello, Jacko, hello to everybody back home. 3,300 up. Not extending the advantage anymore, but gets a pretty clean run through the chicane. Down through the heart, 2,500 up. He'll have enough to have the lead. Not going to be huge, but it is enough. 55.71. They added just 100 to their advantage over Jakob's calendar. So Patrick Bal Gartner will finish no worse than 12th on his World Cup debut here in Lake Placid. Silver medalist in Beijing, his career high, also the high point of his season. In actual fact, if this is a 12th place, it is his equal worst result of the year, along with 12th place in Samoa. It's a track he knows a lot better. But that was a much bigger field there as well. Come on, boys, there's the voice of Greg Jones, the most English sounding of the Swiss. Cedric Fidor with Omar Fergler, Dominic Hufschmidt and Quentin Géard behind him. Relatively young, relatively new crew. Lying in 11th place, just 100th ahead of Bal Gartner, but they start slower than the Italians. But he had a nice looking run in the first trip down, little skid from 2 to 3, taps the wall in 3. Driver's push part hasn't gone entirely in. Wouldn't be too much of a drama. Whoa! Oh my goodness! Nearly rolled it off 7. Very nearly rolled it off 9. There was a lot of hang time and the same in 12. Wow, I thought Marcus Treichel was playing fast and loose with the laws of gravity in the first heat. Monobob wild and barely in control. And we'd argue that until the cows came home as well. Across the line, 56.30. And by luck, more than judgment, I think, they get it down in third. But oh boy, I mean, what do you pick out of that? Which of the near disasters are you going to show us? Well, that was 7, nearly rolled it into 8, and then out of 8, onto 9, nearly rolled it into 9, and then out of 9. How did that stay down? How did that come back down? And again, 12-13, nearly rolled it into 13. Nicola Mariani, apologies for those of you who can lip read Swiss Deutsch. That was not Swiss Deutsch. Oh boy. Boy, oh boy, a Polidor raced here last year to his World Cup best result of 5th place. All right, gather yourselves back together now. Emil Tulis, 2nd place in the Battle of the Crystal Globes. A winner in Altenburg, bronze medalist in Innsbruck and St. Moritz. And they need a big start, and he needs a much better second run than he had at first heat. 5:04, there you go, that is very good starting indeed. Only one sled quicker off the mark, and that was Johannes Lochner in the first heat. Even Friedrich's crew did a 5:05. But Tulis in a battle for 9th place with Kim Jin-soo, and it's over. And that Eugene Byrne watching that, somebody's going to have to do the math, and it isn't going to be me. He will finish, or will he finish? And if he doesn't cross the line, he'll get no points. And I don't know if he will cross the line. We haven't seen a 4-man come all the way up yet. It's still going to go all the way through 19 and up to 20. Does he cross the line? Does he cross the line? He does cross the line. The boys are going to jump out. The track workers are there. He crosses the line. They all stayed in the sled. He will be a classified finisher. But are the points for 14th enough to keep him in the Crystal Globes? Well, this is a repeat of Polidor, but worse. Rolls the other way just as they're getting on to 8. And it's upside down in 8. That is brutal. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen to Cedric Fidor. Not Eugene Byrne in the coat. We did see Eugene yesterday down at the bottom of the track looking after the athletes after a crash. Oh, my Lord. Well, they will go and see Dr. Byrne. Physician here in Lake Placid. And guy who looks after the concussion protocols for the IBSF as well as practicing here in the Adirondacks and being the on-site doctor at a number of the events. Well, I don't know is the honest answer. Tulis was 72 points ahead of Lochner. Lochner will move ahead of him. And he was 169 ahead of Seaman Freedley in 4th. I don't think Freedley will go ahead of him. But it might be tight. The difference between 2nd and 3rd in mono in the overall Crystal Globe battle yesterday was just 2 points. And between one of the other positions was 1 point in 2-man. So it could all change. If they hadn't crossed the line, then I'm sure it would have cost him a Crystal Globe. It may yet do, I don't know. I'm not going to trust my maths, and I'm not going to spend the time doing it either. Well, there'll be a track hold. There's Patrick Bal Gartner and the boys. Well, they have picked up 2 spots now, one from Cedric Fidor one from Emil Tulis. Lots of fans out here at the track. Saturday, of course, so the weekend before Easter. I think there will be loads of school kids here as well at the track. Not a school day on Monday. Our track workers done a great job all season long keeping the track alive. And then the skeleton athlete said it was pretty rattly. Never the smoothest of ice here in Lake Placid, but it's been relatively mild. It's looking like it could easily be a green background to this race weekend a week ago. The track has been maintained through two very heavy, or a really heavy week of North America's Cup racing 2 weeks ago, with 50+ sleds in the skeleton field. Long days at the track for our track crews. And they've done a fantastic job to keep the ice intact and raceable. Of course, the weather has helped this weekend.
1 minute warning to Kim Jin-soo of Korea.
And the medal plaza outside the new track building, the big facility in the just below the heart. That'll be a very snowy venue for our final medal ceremonies of the season, for the women's bobsleigh, for the four-man, and of course for the Crystal Globes for both. Well, 9 sleds to go. Patrick Bal Gartner is our leader. Emil Tulis credited with a time. But what about Kim Jin-soo? This Korean slider in his four-man debut, made his two-man debut as a driver in Altenburg, took the bronze medal. It's his 38th World Cup race. He did 37 as a brakeman. Made his debut here in December 2014 in the four-man race with Kim Dong-hyun, who crashed them. Let's hope history doesn't repeat here. But Kim Jin-soo, he's going to be a big name to conjure with next year, no question. 5:19 getaway. They start strongly. 5:16 in the first heat. Top 10 starting. Top 10 drive in the first run as well. .300's up from 600 in front of Bal Gartner. But Bal Gartner was untidy at the bottom. Heart in the mouth there again. He got it off 9. Look out, here comes 12, 13, spits off 12. Hold it off there. Through the chicane, nice chicane, third best speed, and 10th back. Has he got enough? Can he be clean all the way to the line? 1400 back. No, double cap, he's not going to get there. Bal Gartner leads with 8 to go. Well, this again. Oh, just look at the way the sled peels off the corner. Just so close to disaster. Well, the maths look as though Emil Tulis will still grab a Crystal Globe. But as for the race, well, Patrick Bal Gartner, the leader, as we come to the third of our Pan Am sleds. The Pan American Championship being raced here for sleds from nations in North and South America and the Caribbean. Now, in this four-man race, Brian Berghorn in the blue jacket at the back there with the cap on, the track manager here. Congratulations to him on a great World Cup weekend. Looking forward to the Worlds next year. This is the third place sled in Pan Am. 5:15 getaway for Chris Horn. Horn, the two-man and four-man push world champion here last year. And our second four-man debutante in the field after Kim Jin-soo. His advantage over Kim was a massive 100th of a second. His advantage over Bal Gartner, 11 hundredths of a second. Whoa, little skid. Whoa, look out! Gets it off 12. 200s back. Fifth best speed, 1500s back. I think Bal Gartner was quick at the bottom. He was clearly faster than Horn at that split. He's not going to make it. Bal Gartner's going to lead. Drops 3 places to 4th, 56.12. Bal Gartner, Calendar and Kim, the top 3 with 7 to go. Chris Horn, Jace Johnson, Hakeem Abdul-Sabur and Darius Joseph, the crew. There's Big Hack. Shana Roebuck helping with the sled. Look at this again. Late out of 11. Hard and very late onto 12. See the violence of that transition as the push bar flies out. Hauled it off 12. That was a save, not a drive, of 12.
Track is clear to start.
All right, well, they got it down in one piece. That is to come down with all 4 runners on the ice. Next up, Frank Del Duca. And Frank lying second in Pan Am. Best 4-man result in the 4 races he contested this season, 13th place. So this will be a big improvement on that, if he can stay where he is. 6th place finish here last year. If he can move up 1, he will match that World Cup 4-man best result. But he's got to stay in front of Bal Gartner. 2200s up, becomes 24, becomes 22 again. Speed's not as good as the Italian. Little rocky through 12 and 13. Frank's got to find something good in this chicane. Pretty decent, but it's only a 10th and only the 4th best speed. 400s in it. Bal Gartner's going to move up again, is he? Yes, he is, by 100th of a second. Brian Scheimer in the cap cannot believe it. Frank Del Duca will be no worse than 8th. And still a Pan Am silver medal coming his way. Oh, long skid out of Benham's Bend. Look at this. As soon as they start to go uphill, the sled gets sideways and stays with the tail hanging out. That's where the speed went at the bottom.
Love you guys. Appreciate the support.
Noisy crowd on hand, always great to see. Now then, for glory in the Pan Am Championships, the first ever, Taylor Austin, Jack Murray-Lawrence, Anthony Couturier and Devon McEwen at 3 and 4 in only their 2nd ever 4-man World Cup start. It's a 9th for their driver, Taylor Austin, and a 10th for Shaq, the big man, at 2. Top 5 run in the first heat, tied with Seaman Freedley. He really drove up a storm, Taylor Austin. Sorry, Big T, 5:27 the getaway. Started 5:24 in the first heat. Only the 13th fastest start in heat 1. They came down tied for 5th. So his initial lead over Bal Gartner shrinked because they didn't start as quickly as the Italians. Bal Gartner and his crew started in 5:15, but this is where he starts to turn that around. At least this is where he needs to. Out of Benham's Bend, out of good chicane first time, good chicane the second time. 600 for the second inning. We're not getting live data for the speed. 1500 for the second inning. He's going to try and put it far enough away. 31 hundredths in front. 55-65. Applause from the coaches. And rightly so. Really good drive from Taylor Lawrence. Taylor Austin, I'm sorry again, Taylor. Nice stuff, not a bad chicane at all. Gets a square tap down into 17 on the right side. Comes onto 17 nicely, doesn't have to fight it. Holds the line. Keeps that speed, accelerating the sled all the way to the finish. 5 to go. Taylor Austin leads for Canada. Justin Cripps watching from the Canadian coach's box, the last Canadian man to take a 4-man medal here. That was a pair of wins in December 2019. I don't think Taylor Austin's going to win it here, but has he got enough to hold off Seaman Freedley here? Freedley with Dominic Schlepfer, Luca Rolli and Andreas Haas. 5:14, they give themselves every chance at the start, 1,300 up. Oh, little squirrely out of 2. Finished 9th here last year, his only previous 4-man drive on this track in 23 starts. Little Rocky through 8 and 9 as well. Only the 8th best speed. Flops off Shady. Whoa! I'm going to need to lie down in a darkened room after this. I don't know about you. 7th best speed, he's not going to get there, not even close. 2500's back, he might drop behind Bal Gartner and Del Duca and Calenda. 5th at the line, 8th at the line. What on earth? 56.56. 1.44 seconds slower than his first run. Taylor Austin leads from Patrick Baumgartner, Frank Del Duca, Jacobs Calenda, Kim Jin-soo, Chris Horn, Cedric Fidor, and behind Fidor now by 200ths, Seaman Freedley. As untidy a run as it was, it didn't look that dramatic.
Track is clear to start 1 for Marcus Kreisel of Austin.
Taylor Austin leads in Lake Placid, 4 to go. Marcus Treichel for Austria. 400s only his advantage over Taylor Austin, our current leader. He's got Sasha Stepan, Marcus Sammer, and Christian Huber behind him. They need a big push. But Treichel in his 50th 4-man World Cup race, aiming for his best ever result. 5:11. They started 5:08 in the first heat. He's not been in a 4-man medal position before, but he might just produce something special here. 8th here in last season's race, his best of 3 World Cup appearances. His World Cup best ever results are 6th, 5th place finishes. If he holds on to the lead, it will be his best ever 4-man result. But the gap is down to a 10th, and the speed is not there in the chicane. Taylor Austin is going to be the leader at the end of this run. Treichel goes behind. Double taps on the way to the line. Taylor Austin is going to lead with 3 to go. Well, Marcus Treichel drops to 6th. With 3 to go. It'll be the same result as last year. No, one worse. He was 8th last year. This will be potentially 9th place. Well, they started 5:11, but that was about the best bit of the run. Is the track slowing dramatically in the last few sleds? Or are they just making more mistakes than we saw from Taylor Austin? You just see the sled moving around behind Marcus Treichel there. And then boom, slams off 19, hits both walls.
Zwischen 18 und im Ziel 15.
There you go, and he's actually saying exactly that. Between 18 in the finish, now then, what's the track hold for? We're looking at something in the track. Simon Freedley there talking to Marcus Treichel. Freedley lost speed in the same place. And you see boys putting their clothing back on. René Spiess on the right, Rico Peter on the left. René Spiess, the Bundestrainer for the German team. Chatting to Stefan Bosch, who's down at the finish line. On the squawky-talkie, trying to find out what's going on. Hands up, answers on a postcard. I have to say, I've got no clue. They're not aware in the truck of what's the issue with the track, with 2 to go. Peter Fischer on the right-hand side there in the cap. He's the head of the jury president. But he's responsible for running the race on behalf of the IBSF. It is the race jury who will be looking at the chase. That's concrete under the ice. That's what the issue is. Now, that's where the bunks, the black marks, where the bunks are cut. Is that what they were talking about? Between 18 in the finish, is that what Simon Freedley was saying? That the ice has come off the wall? And that's the problem with the temperate weather for the last couple of weeks. It's been spring rather than winter. Winter's returned with a vengeance this week. Well, there's Mickey Vogt. Girls, come on. Mickey Vogt's on the right-hand side. Great to see him back in the 2-man race. And Deborah Annan there on the left-hand side. Martin Annan's daughter, who was racing in the Monobobs. Her second Mono World Cup race. So what they're going to have to do is try and slush in that big hole in the ice. Now, unfortunately, they all speak a version of German. Rico and Swissdeutsch, Austrian-German from Wolfgang Stampfer on the left. German from René Spiess. I have to say, I think even Sandis Preuss speaks a bit of German. Hard to be in bobsleigh without speaking a bit of German. We can see how snowy it is down at the bottom. That whiteboard, by the way, just in the finish area, as ever, handwritten, all the times of all the sleds in every session, written in by Jim Shea, the Olympic gold medalist's mum. Jim Shea Senior and his mum are always down on the finish dock. Well, there's the marks on the runners from going over what appears to be bare concrete between 18 and 19. Well, the deal here is this is basically snow and water, ice and water, and you pack it in and it will be frozen into position, smoothed off with a plasterer's trowel, but it is clearly on the racing line. Now, if this was NASCAR and it started raining in the final hour of the final race, there'd be a rain delay. Christoph Langen there in the black jacket, the black cap, working for the IBSF these days. This is not his problem, luckily. I do not know what the protocol, if there even is a protocol for the track breaking up. Now the coaches here are going to, and we're going to look at those who had dramatically wrong results, who lost dramatic speed at the bottom. Well, we're looking definitely at Marcus Treichel and Simon Freedley. See now, I can hear now Frank Del Duca, those two words, go again. One more. So that was Ivo Danielewicz, you just heard talking to Frank, and he's coaching the Koreans, and Kim dropped 5 spots. Freedley dropped spot, but Taylor Austin didn't. So Kim, Chris Horn, Frank Del Duca all came down before Taylor Austin. Austin did not drop spots. Now they've slushed in that little bit of track. Okay, the surface will be smooth, but it won't be as hard as ice. Do you know what I mean? It's first set of runners over there, just going to dig in. And genuinely, I mean, even if you sprayed orange paint on it, you can't expect at 80 miles an hour on ice the driver to be able to avoid it. So anybody who's got scratch runners now, are they going to go, put me in again, coach, I want to go again? But they have to use the same runners, or we have to rerun the race. I don't know. You call it. I mean, there's a lot going on. Now they're going to send down a forerunner, and I guess the answer there is what happens when the forerunner sled goes over that slush. Two problems here. First of all, it's a 2-man, not a 4-man. And secondly, what if it doesn't go over the slush? I don't know. I mean, the crew are doing everything they can, and we only had 3 more sleds. Now, of course, the jury want to make sure, like the track president, like the track team manager, the crew manager, they want to make sure that the race is fair as well as safe.
Thank you for noticing.
Thanks.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Hey, they're handing out the choco milk. Yeah.
He wanted us to eat the cookie. I thought I was in his way.
Adrian Adams going for the cookies. Manio Mitchell there wrapped up warm as well after their run. Peter Ramsidle's seen enough of this. He's been around the British bobsleigh team for the last decade and more. He's seen enough of this tomfoolery. Well, this would appear to be taking photos of the slush patch to send back to René. Stefan Bosch gets all the fun jobs. There's some strong beard work going on down there, isn't there? Just a moment, look like we're in Canada. Well, again, now, taking a look at the runners, and this will be Marcus Treichel's sled to send back up so that in arguing the toss, I mean, does he want to go again? And if he does, do they have a spare set of runners prepped? The answer is no, they don't. And they won't be the same. They wouldn't be the same anyway. Hansi Lochner walking towards us. Adam Amor there, the shorter figure with the beard on the right-hand side. You can see the marks on the runners. I mean, you can feel them more than see them. These things are polished to mirror perfection, but you'd certainly feel it with your fingertips. No, it wasn't Stefan Bosch down there taking pictures at the bottom. There he is. Hanging around in the finish area. Sent somebody else off to do it. Hide from the cameras, especially when everything is quiet. There's Marcus Sammer, Oppa as he's known, granddad in the team. Remember last year in Park City, I think it was, celebrating his 100th World Cup race. And today, Marcus Sammer has just completed in his 65th four-man World Cup race alone. Marcus Streichel in his 50th as well. I think he was hoping for a little bit more from this. I think he and Seaman Freedley definitely feel hard done by. Taylor Austin's probably thinking, yeah, it's racing, suck it up. But then Taylor Austin's leading with 3 to go. The problem with going again, even if the ice holds, is that the runners will have been marked up by it. And they won't be as quick as they were. Now, whether that's going to make that much of a difference or not, I don't know. And genuinely, I'm not sure anybody knows either. I think the only way you find out is if you go again. Like Lee Johnson in the Olympics in Park City, where he was hit on the head by a coin and went again, and the run and the track were not as quick. Well, there's Peter Fischer. Now, René Spies there saying that he was saying maybe it ought to be a one-heat race. Mystique Rowe, your women's skeleton winner. Congratulations to her. Well done, Mystique. Dan Barefoot with the cookies. Yeah, there you go. Well, she was tearful after the finish yesterday, and why not?
I know we had only one round, normally, because for these guys it's not okay. For me it's okay, he crashed.
Well, now, you could argue, as devil's advocate, and say, of course, René Spies has got everything to gain by making a one-heat race, because that means the Germans will remain in the top 3. Pat Norton there with the next generation of sliders, potentially. Although every ice slider I know says, no, my kid is going to play tennis or do some soccer or some indoor sport or go surfing or something, not in the damn winter. Who knows? I bet Martin Allen said that one day, and his daughter was in the Swiss national handball team. Now they're seeing if they can get hold of Jos Matley. I have to say, I don't think René would be asking for a one-heat race just to keep the Germans in the top 3. I think he's basically reflecting what Wolfgang Stampfer was saying, what Rico Peder was saying, because their 2 guys definitely were affected by that. Well, it's going to be a tough break for Taylor Austin of Canada if that is the case. But it is looking more like that might be the way we go now. What's happening now is we're putting water on it to try and freeze that on, to try and give it a hard surface. There are only 3 sleds remaining. And there they are, lined up and getting ready to go. All 3 FES 4-man sleds waiting to take on this track. Now looking at pictures here being sent up of the track, I'm assuming. Shana Roebuck there, World Championship silver medalist.
Just trying to fill that TV time.
Yeah. Don't worry, I've got a couple of songs I'll work through in a moment or two. That'll guarantee a 1 heat race. Saturday night should be a shiny floor show. Bit of tap dancing, soft shoe shuffle. Maybe get the sand dance out. Well, at the moment, we're in a little bit of a hurry up and wait, because I'm sure the jury would like to run this for the sake of 3 final sleds. Peter Ramseidel on the left, Rika Peter on the right. I think... Oh, that was Torsten Margis who's saying in 7? Trying to feel what it's like. There's only one way we're going to find out what it's like, isn't there? Yeah. And that's if we send a sled.
Wir werden schon lange verladen in dem Reis.
A bunch of happy campers. They've been here much of the weekend, enjoying themselves. Lots of fans here watching at the start and at the finish. Yeah, we've all got a cowbell. Mine seems to be just out of reach somewhere. I'm not quite sure where. Loads of kids here yesterday as well. Final day of term before the Easter holidays. Semester, I guess they'd say here. Well, Torsten, one way or the other, he'll be pretty sanguine. These guys love racing. I mean, that's the long and the short of it. I mean, all these guys love racing. They come here to race. They don't come here to not race. They all love racing. They want to race. What they don't want to do is destroy $10,000 worth of runners. Yep, you're on screen. Lyndon Rush there in the coach's box, because it's his boy who's leading. It does look like we are still getting ready to send down a 4-runner. Could really do with it being a 4-man sled, though. Well, Lake Placid gives its name to this track. Saranac Lake, just a little further up the road, is a big home for bobsledding as well. Morgan family came from there. The Latour family came from there. A whole bunch of bobsledders from the Saranac Lake Bob Club, as well as the Lake Placid Bob Club. This was Ossibel Falls had their own Bob Club. This is a massive, massive bobsleighing fraternity over the years. On the 1.5 mile track, the mile track, the fearsome old Lake Placid. Used to have kids races here. Kids would come with their dads and race in pee-wee bobs. Little tiny open bobsleds. And they've been racing here for the better part of a century. Double Olympic venue. Last Winter Games back in 1980.
All right, that was the final sled of our four-man
All right, so the jury have called it. You can hear our track announcer has been told that it will be a one-heat race.
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock we will be hosting.
So he's announcing that the awards ceremony will be at 5. It is currently 4:22. So we have a one-heat race. The result declared as it was at the end of the first heat. And that means that Francesco Friedrich has his first win on this track. And I'm afraid that Taylor Austin and the boys, who are looking at a 4th place finish, will end up with a tie for 5th. Well, there we go. That perhaps is the most judicious answer, but very disappointing to have to end on a whimper rather than go out with a bang. A little bit of a disappointment not to see the final run of the season from our 3 German teams, but they have claimed all 3 podium spots. Francesco Friedrich will be the winner from Johannes Lochner and Adam Amor. Marcus Treichel will take 4th from Taylor Austin and Simon Freedley. Frank Del Duca in 7th, ahead of Chris Horn, Kim Jin-soo and Emil Tulis. So Tulis dodges that one, crashed and would have finished last, but that guarantees that he will take the silver Crystal Globe behind our World Cup champion, Francesco Friedrich, with Johannes Lochner taking the bronze Crystal Globe at the end of the season. Behind Tulis, who tied for 9th with Kim Jin-soo, 11th for Cedric Fidor, 12th for Bal Gartner, 13th for Jakobs Kalender, and Adam Baird 14th, still his best World Cup result in 2 outings. But a very first win on this track for Francesco Friedrich. He's been coming here a long time. Nine races here. He's had a podium only in the last 2 before today, and his 10th race is the charm. He gets that win, the only track to have failed to allow him to win on it, and Lake Placid finally succumbs. And in fact, the ice succumbed just 3 sleds before the end of the season. A real shame for the track workers who have worked so hard for months keeping this place alive, particularly in the warm weather of the last couple of weeks in the massive America's Cup week. And then just 3 sleds from the end of the season. A hole in the ice defeats us. Francesco Friedrich, your World Cup champion. Emil Tulis, his best ever season's result in 2nd. Johannes Lochner claims a Crystal Globe again in 3rd place, ahead of Simon Freedley, Bal Gartner and Cedric Fidor. Marcus Treichel 7th in the overall rankings, I said ahead of Sun Kai-chi of China. Mickey Vogt dropping out at the top 10, not racing in Altenburg or here, or indeed in the World Championships. Well, there you go. Some full seasons, some part seasons, some newcomers, and lots to talk about over the summer. Plenty in prospect for next year. Not the least of which will be a return to Lake Placid and a chance to watch 2 weeks of World Championship racing here. Hopefully we'll have good, cold, hard weather as well. And that is it then. The season is over. On behalf of everybody in the IBSF TV crew and truck throughout the season, for everybody who has helped with the organisation, the juries, the IBSF technical delegates and everybody else, everybody who's joined me in the commentary booth, thanks most of all for you for joining us. Martin Haven saying goodbye. We'll see you next year for much more action. Bye for now.
Bellissimo.
What a crowd!
I thought I was in his way.
Curve